Banani loses his memory. Three scientists, Papaia, Banani, and Ravioli, and their assistant Igor, who work at Nasal, begin to take an interest in creationism. Their superiors, worried, send them to a psychologist, Professor Fagioli, a shady character determined to get them fired by making them seem insane. We're in Professor Fagioli's office. It's Banani's turn. Fagioli, I see we're having issues with explosives. Banani, I wouldn't exactly call them issues. Fagioli, oh no, and what would you call them then? Banani, I don't know. It's more like a result I frequently get. Fagioli, you realize this could stem from your subconscious. We need to dig deeper. Any recent events you'd like to tell me about? Banani, well, now that I think of it, yes. There was something. It happened just recently. Flashback. Banani's garage, a few months ago. Banani is building a strange contraption. Igor, before we blow up along with that machine, can you tell me what it is? Banani, it's a K-wave amplifier. Igor, K-waves, what are those? Never heard of them. Banani, me neither. That's why I built this machine. Igor, so you basically have no idea what you're doing. Banani, what are you talking about, Igor? Look at this. A couple of screws here, a bolt there, tighten it, a bit of duct tape, and done. Igor, are you sure this is a good idea, Banani? Banani, Igor, trust me. Duct tape is the backbone of science. No failures today, only explosive progress. Igor, did you just say explosive? Banani, metaphorically. Fagioli, voiceover. Interesting. Banani connects two exposed wires that start to spark. A red blinking light turns on in the device. Banani, it's working. It's working. Boom. Igor, does Banani have a problem with explosives? Not at all. Banani is absolutely in favor. When I saw that gadget in Banani's garage, I had no idea what it was, and apparently, neither did its inventor. The only certainty was that thing was going to explode. Like everything built in Banani's garage, after all. Even Banani, subconsciously, knew what was about to happen, an explosion. Yes, Banani, definitely explosive progress. I mean, progress within the blast radius, wider and wider with each new experiment. Fagioli had noticed it and was already taking notes, certainly for his research and explosive revelation. Now, Banani's last words before the incident were, "It's working." Really? You're telling me the goal was to light up a red LED? Bravo! But next time, let's use a battery, not nitroglycerin. How funny. SavedBlog.com. Banani's living room a few minutes later. Banani is sitting in an armchair, looking confused. Around him are his wife, two children, and his parents. On the coffee table are old family photos, albums, and cherished items. Dad, what happened? Mom, I don't know. The usual explosion in the garage. And now, he doesn't remember anything. Wife. Banani, look at this. It's our honeymoon in Venice. Do you remember? Look, that's you wearing the gondolier's hat. Banani. He looks happy. But no, I'm sorry. Son. And this, it's the robot you built for my school. His name was Rollatron. Banani. Rollatron. That's a funny name, but it doesn't ring a bell. Banani's mom. Sweetie, we went to that park every Sunday for 20 years. You even hid a birthday cake in a bush once, remember? Banani. A cake in a bush? That does sound like something I'd do. Banani clutches his head, but still can't remember anything. After a few hours, the family has lost hope. Banani's dad. We've tried everything. Photos, stories, smells, music. Nothing works. Silence. His wife sighs, gets up, and begins tidying. As she puts things away, a roll of tape accidentally falls to the floor and rolls to Banani's feet. Banani. Picking up the roll. What is this? Wife. Oh, that's just your usual tape. You put it everywhere, even on the coffee machine. Banani. Jumping up. No, that's not just tape. It's the solution. It's everything. Son. Dad. Banani. The tape. Now I remember everything. I built a rocket with it, fixed the shower, muzzled a raccoon with it. The tape, it's part of me. Banani's mom. Amazed. There it is. Banani. Looking at his hands, then the roll. My name is Banani, and I fix things with tape. Everyone. Sighs, laughs, cries, and then Banani... Pause. But now, who blew up the garage? Wife. You did. And also the microwave. And the hamster. Banani. Ah, good. I'm back. Prepare the tape. How funny. Savedblog.com. Igor and Rollatron. Igor. What was Banani's robot called again? Rollatron? Knowing Banani, I'd say that name was more than fitting. Rollatron. What kind of name is that for a robot? Sounds more like the name of a transformer made out of a roll of tape and a forgotten sandwich. Can you picture it? Like hair curlers instead of arms. The neighbor's cat bowl as a head. Maybe even a smiley emoji drawn on it with a marker. And the legs? 2 1.5-liter soda bottles. Filled with sand and rice, and one probably had a hole in it. Poor Rollatron limped and even leaked from one foot. If you lost him, you just had to follow the trail of sand he left behind. Losing him? Nearly impossible. Rollatron limped. Half the time he fell over halfway down the hall. He looked like Banani's drunk uncle coming home from the bar on a Saturday night. And the body? An empty can of corn? Oh no, worse, 3 pizza boxes. Taped together, of course. From one of Banani's mom's lazy nights, still with tomato stains on them. And crusty chunks of mozzarella. At night, they had to wrap him in cling film. Otherwise, he'd attract ants and bugs. Banani even designed a sword. The blade was a broken ruler that he'd kept since 3rd grade. The handle, an empty toilet paper roll. One of the arms had a secret move with a rubber band. But if you pulled too hard, it would fly off with the sword. And the whole thing, of course, held together by tape. Tape, obviously. The soul of Rollatron. How funny. Saveblog.com. Debate. Does tape suck or not? Back to Fagioli. Fagioli. You know, Banani, there's something that keeps coming up in your stories. Banani. Genius. Fagioli. No. Tape. Banani lights up like a light bulb powered by a wobbly dynamo. Banani. Tape. The most underrated tool in the universe. It holds together rockets, toasters, dams, broken hearts. Fagioli cutting him off. What's your favorite brand? Banani, the Megafix. 9000 Pro version. Industrial grade, waterproof, fireproof, and resistant to currents up to 1000 watts. Fagioli. And how long is a roll? Banani, 23.7 meters. Fagioli, country of manufacture? Banani, Glasgow, southern Scotland. Fagioli, number of production plants. Banani, only one. The rest are warehouses. Fagioli, number of workers. Banani, about 1,223 according to September data. Fagioli, stock market value. Banani, currently at $7.32, down 0.7%. Fagioli, color of the president's tie at the last conference. That's Banani, wine red with tiny black flowers. Fagioli, stunned. I'm impressed. Fagioli thinking, 23.7, what now? He'll find out I'm a fraud. Fagioli tries to suppress a panic attack, but from under the desk emerges Tony the Sock. Tony, oh, look who's here, the little engineer of the magic tape. Let's tape this, tape that. And then, boom, everything explodes. And you know why? Pause. Tony, because tape sucks. Tape sucks. And you suck as an inventor. Banani and his tape. Banani freezes. His expression darkens. Banani, offended. Tape doesn't suck. It's an art, a philosophy, a way of life. Silence. Fagioli calms down. Tony slinks back onto the desk, satisfied. For now, balance is restored. Igor. The Megafix. 9000 could withstand up to 1000 watts of current. Did Banani test it? Maybe on himself? Fagioli's afraid that if his patients answer his own questions too well, they'll realize he's incompetent. Fagioli, no need for tricks. Your patients figure out your incompetence right away. Tony says tape sucks. Benani says tape doesn't suck. And me, what do I think? I don't know. I've never tasted it. How funny. SaveBlog.com. The secular explanation. Meanwhile, in the waiting room, Papaia and Ravioli are talking about a book Benani found on the geological evidence for Noah's flood. Ravioli. So, how does secular geology explain those layers? Papaia. The conventional explanation is that under the pressure and heat of burial, the hardened layers of sandstone and limestone bent so slowly that they behaved plastically and didn't break. Ravioli. And is that even possible? It's Papaia. Yes, however, pressure and heat should have caused detectable changes in the minerals of these rocks. Clear signs of metamorphism. Ravioli. Let me guess, those signs aren't there? Papaia. Exactly. Those metamorphic minerals or recrystallizations that would result from plastic deformation just aren't observed in these rocks. The sandstone and limestone in the folds are identical to sedimentary layers found elsewhere. Ravioli. A mystery for them, but for us, a piece of evidence. Papaia. The only logical conclusion is that the 440 million year delay between deposition and folding never happened. Instead, the Tapeats to Kaibab sequence was deposited rapidly at the beginning of the catastrophic global flood described in Genesis, followed by the uplift of the Kaibab Plateau in the final months of the flood. Only that explains how the whole sequence bent without significant fracturing. Igor. The only logical conclusion I see here is that if they don't fire us, they're transferring us to the Kaibab Plateau permanently. How funny. SavedBlog.com. Hamster explosion. Back to Fagioli. Fagioli. One last thing. You mentioned a hamster that exploded? Benani. Yes, his name was Fruffy. The kids were really attached to him. Flashback. Benani's house last year. We're in the living room. Benani's kids are sitting on the couch hugging Fruffy's cage. Son. Look how peacefully he sleeps. Daughter. He's on a scented cotton pillow. I made it myself. Son. Oh no, look outside the window. Daughter. No, not again. I can't believe it. Two feline eyes shine in the darkness. Daughter. Panicking. Dad, the neighbor's cat tried to get in again. Son. Shaking. Dad, he wants to eat him. He wants to eat Fruffy. Benani. Dead serious. No one will ever touch that hamster again. I already have an idea. Daughter. Dad, please, no flamethrowers this time. Benani, offended. What? That was just a prototype for roasting marshmallows remotely. Igor. Yeah, the kids, so attached to the hamster. How attached can you get to a hamster in 2 weeks? That's the maximum lifespan of a hamster in the Benani household. That hamster wouldn't have slept so soundly if it had known what was coming. How funny. SavedBlog.com. The tape gun blaster. It's around midnight. We're in the garage. Benani is hunched over a workbench. In front of him, a net shooting gun made of irrigation pipes, an industrial hairdryer, a roll of packing tape, and an optical mouse sensor. Benani is recording voice notes on his phone. Benani, into phone. Note, bait in position. Benani has placed Fruffy as bait. Benani. Note, I added a motion sensor. Once it's triggered, the gun fires a sticky net made of tape. The cat comes in, the cage lifts, the net fires, mission accomplished. He sets everything up carefully. Fruffy's cage is suspended in midair, hanging from a pulley made out of a skate wheel. Benani, proudly. Now we just open the door and wait. He moves toward the door to open it, but the sensor picks up his own movement. Robotic voice. Motion detected. Initiating protocol. Benani. What? No, wait, don't swerve. The gun fires a net made entirely of tape. Benani gets wrapped up, slammed against the wall, and hangs like a Christmas ham. Benani. Muffled. I'd say something went a little wrong. While struggling to free himself, he bumps the table with his shoulder. Benani. Oh no, 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 no. Looks at a small bottle on the edge. The bottle labeled Banani Bomb, an explosive compound used to inflate balloons, falls, bounces, hits a toolbox, and lands right inside Fruffy's suspended cage. Banani shouting, "Froo boom." The cage explodes in a cloud of smoke and hamster fluff. Banani, "Oops, I blew up the hamster." Meanwhile, the neighbor's cat, sitting on the wall, watches the scene with total indifference. It slowly licks its paw, yawns, and walks away. Back in the garage. A few moments later, Banani's kids enter, drawn by the noise. They find Banani still taped to the wall, and the cage still hanging blackened and burst open from the explosion. Son, Dad, where's Fruffy? Banani, low orbit, I think. Daughter, Dad, that's the third hamster. This month. Son, don't worry, you did your best, Dad, but next time to scare off the cat. Maybe just use a broom. Back to Fagioli. Fagioli, your kids are very understanding. Others might have been upset. Banani, let's just say they're used to it by now. Fagioli, tell me about your kids. Are they like you? I mean, in terms of explosions and tape? Banani, no. Fagioli, they're very diligent kids. They love studying and do well in school. I really can't complain. Fagioli, good. Fewer notes for me to write. Igor and the hamster. Igor, perfect, Banani. What better plan to save a hamster from a predator than using the hamster as bait? Maybe instead of putting him in a cage, you could have set him on a tray and covered him with a lid. Here, kitty kitty, dinner's ready. A net shooting gun. Or rather, a tape shooting gun. What else would you expect from Banani and his tape-centric genius? Banani sets off the very sensor he installed. This isn't even surprising anymore. After all the planning, the most obvious outcome is Banani caught in his own trap. Classic Banani own goal. Banani, stuck to the wall and wrapped in a web of tape of his own making, has the nerve to say, I'd say something went wrong. Well, not something, Banani, everything. In Banani's garage, along with his usual tools, we also find the Banani Bomb. And Banani wants us to believe he didn't expect an explosion. And what does he use it for? To inflate balloons? Picture Banani throwing a birthday party. Of course the balloons are filled with liquid hydrogen, and then handed out to children. With Banani warning them, be careful, don't shake them too much. Naturally, the Banani Bomb ends up right in the hamster cage. When he placed that cage, it almost felt like Banani had calculated the trajectory subconsciously. If the hamster could talk, you know what he'd have said in that moment? Run. No use spinning in your wheel, Fruffy. Once you're part of a Banani experiment, your future has only two possible outcomes. You either blow up, or you end up in orbit. Or maybe both. But when Banani saw the puff of fur and smoke, all he could say was, oops, I blew up the hamster. Banani, how about you drop the oops? We all know your real goal was to blow something up. Hamster exploded, mission accomplished. Just another example of Banani family pets. Sacrifice for science. Thank you for everything, Fruffy. We'll miss you. You and the 10 other hamsters who met the same fate before you. But your son gave you a real pearl of wisdom. Use a broom. Just to be clear, Banani, that means for sweeping away the cat, not as a rocket for your next duct tape-powered crossbow, okay? By then, Fagioli had heard so many absurdities. He had more than enough material. He was actually tired of writing. If Banani's kids were anything like their father, Fagioli would have ended up with tendinitis. He didn't just have enough stories to get Banani fired from Nasal, but enough to have him expelled from planet Earth. Which might have actually given him time to reflect, along with his loyal friends, on that infamous orbital ejection trauma. How funny. SavedBlog.com. More bent layers. Meanwhile, in the waiting room, Papaia and Ravioli are talking about a book Banani found, about the geological evidence of Noah's flood. Papaia. If the Earth's fossil-bearing sedimentary layers were deposited over 460 million years, they couldn't have bent without breaking. Ravioli. What solution do old Earth advocates propose? Papaya. Heat and pressure. Ravioli. Is that possible? Papaya. Yes, they can make even hard rock layers pliable. Ravioli. So they claim that's what happened? Papaya. Exactly. For example, in the eastern Grand Canyon, where the sequence of many overlying layers supposedly compressed and heated these rocks. Ravioli. So, we have an explanation. Papaya. There's just one problem. The heat and pressure would have transformed these layers into quartzite, marble, and other metamorphic rocks. Ravioli. Yet the Papaia sandstone is still sandstone, a sedimentary rock. Papaya. Exactly. Igor. At this point, I'm the one bending, to my knees, praying I won't hear them say this again. Ha ha ha, how funny. SavedBlog.com. Thanks for watching.